Hi there everybody, so this is another lesson on percentages of a quantity. Quite an important one, this one, because what we're looking at this time around is working out percentage, but based on using what we call a decimal multiplier. And this is really important for making your life an awful lot easier in exams, and certainly when it looks at something more complicated, i.e. compound interest, that you understand why it is what we're doing. All right, so to use a decimal multiplier to calculate percentage of a quantity, you're trying to think about what decimal would replace the percentage. All right, so you need to convert percentages into a decimal, therefore divide by 100, and then multiply it by the quantity. So for example, 40% of 64, well, 40% as a decimal is 0.4. So if I do 0.4 times by 64, then that's going to give me 40% of 64. All right, so 0.4 times 64 is 25.6. So again, you would expect for calculations like this, you would be starting to think that obviously it would involve a calculator to kind of do it. All right, so that is how you work out percentage of a quantity. All right, but if I then relate that to increasing something by a percent, okay, same kind of idea, but what you've got to consider is you start off with 100. All right, so as a decimal, that is 1. All right, and all you're doing to the 1 is you're either, because we're talking about increasing, you are adding to that 1. Okay, so if I want to increase something by 20%, you're taking your 100%, what we started with, and you're moving it to 120%. All right, so I need to times it by something which is bigger than 1 because it needs to increase. So what you times it by is this as a decimal. So in terms of a decimal, we are looking at, well, what is this as a decimal? All right, well, this as a decimal is 0.15. Okay, 0.15, but because we're increasing it by 0.15, quick way of doing this is, well, if I've got 115%, that's what I'm going to end up with. So if I convert this to a decimal, it's going to be 1.15, and this is what I'm going to times my number by. I'm going to do 80 times by 1.15, because that means it times by 1, it keeps the same, but it also times it by 0.15, it means it gets a little bit bigger. And that's going to give me an instantaneous answer. So 80 times 1.15 is £92, and that's what it's gone up by. Now you could go away and you could try and calculate 10%, 5%, and then add it all on, and you will get there. All right, you will get there. But I promise you, if you've just whacked that straight into your calculator within about 2 seconds, obviously you've got yourself an answer very, very, very quickly. All right, so that's increased by a percent. Decreased by a percent is using the same kind of concept, same kind of idea, but ultimately you're going less than 100%. All right, so what you times it by needs to be less than 1, all right, for it to go smaller. All right, so we've got original quantity of 100 and it goes down by 20%, then the new percentage will be 80%. All right, so what is the multiplier when it goes down by, so for example, 22%? Well, it went down by 22%, so it's now gone to 78%. So what is that as a decimal? Well, as a decimal, that's 0.78, and that is what I am now going to times my amount by, because by times it by something which is less than 1, my value goes down. So I'm going to do 140 times by 0.78, which gives me £109.20. All right, and this here, like I said, that does all the kind of calculation for you, because essentially what you're doing is you're taking 22% off this multiplier idea. All right, so that is absolutely right. Now I really kind of strongly recommend you practice these ones and get used to the multiplier, very important one. So please go yourself onto maths-school.co.uk, get some practice kind of done. And of course, if you need to come back and revisit this and to remind yourself of what you need to do, then you can do it obviously at any time. Thanks for listening.